Good morning, it's Dr. James. Gosh, am I happy to see you this morning. I can't even tell you how grateful I am to have this time with you today. I woke up this morning and the first thing I felt was sadness. And the first thing I felt was a sense of worry. And it reminded me of a time when I was a little boy, back when I was about 4 years old. I had learned a way of waking up, and the first way I experienced my first moments of my day was worry and sadness and, if you will, a sense of powerlessness. And this morning I woke up like that and I said, wow, I wonder where this came from. And then I remembered a time in my life when I was a little boy. This is pretty much how I always woke up. I would wake up and the first thing I would do is I put my hands in front of my chest and go in prayer position. And I'd say, please God, have helped my dad to come home safe and sound last night. Please let him be in the bed next to my mom. Please let his car be in the driveway. That's how I woke up. And that's the first thing I thought about when I woke up. And I would go from that prayer position, I'd walk across my bedroom floor, and I'd crawl up on top of the heater that was in front of my window, because I wasn't tall enough to see out my window. And I'd get up on top, and I'd look out the window, and I'd see if his car was in the driveway. And if it was, I'd be like, thank God my dad's home. It was going to be a happy day. It was going to be a good morning. There was going to be goodness in our home. And oftentimes, though, my dad didn't come home. My dad had a lot of challenges when I was a young boy, and one of them was alcohol. The other one was staying faithful to my mom, or I like to say faithful to his family. And those challenges eventually eroded our family. My dad moved away and joined another family. And it was really hard for me to overcome this experience. In fact, I used to wake up pretty much every single morning, well into my teens, into my early 20s. And the first thing I would do is wake up and go into worry. The first thing I'd wake up and go into sadness. The first thing I would do is wake up and feel powerless in my life. And I thought to myself, wow, you know what? That happened when I was a little boy, but it became such a part of me. It literally how I wired my brain. It wired my emotions. It became me in the morning, each and every morning. And I'd have to work hard to get myself out of it. And today I want to talk to you about how it is that if you ever have experiences in your life where you wake up or there's a certain thing that happens in your life or a certain pattern that you've had in your life and you can't seem to get yourself out of it, you can't free yourself from that darkness, I got to tell you, I've learned how to do it. And every now and then it comes up and it whacks me like this morning. I have to remember, wow, you know what? This was years of practicing a way of being. Even though that way of being is practicing worry and practicing sadness and practicing powerlessness, it's a practice that I became. And I had to unpractice it by practicing a way of loving myself and empowering myself and being compassionate towards myself to change myself. And today I'm going to talk about the simple and powerful secret to becoming and reclaiming your greatest you. Question for you. And thanks for letting me just, you know what, I sometimes just want to get those things out there so I can move through them. Who are you when stuff happens? And I'll use stuff as sadness, disappointment, challenge. When stuff hits the fan, who are you? Do you have a learned way of responding when a challenge hits your way, where you feel powerless, you cower, you feel like you don't have what it takes, and you immediately assume the position of feeling powerless in your world, and you respond in kind? You respond by not feeling like you have what it takes. You respond, if you will, by going right into worry, or if you will, how it is that you lose your true self. My second question is, how do we show up better? Well, I learned in my early 20s that I was tired of responding to most every challenge that came my way by feeling like I didn't have what it takes, that I would immediately go into sadness. And I can remember a time when my wife, who was traveling away, when we were both finishing med school, we were both in a space where we were broke. I had a lot of insecurity about what we were going to do when we finished and got out there. And then my wife sent me a bouquet of flowers to our little tiny home that we had in Portland, Oregon. And all it said is, we're having a baby. And I was immediately like, we're having a baby. And then immediately what came in was, you can't be a dad. Who do you think you can't do this? You don't have a great relationship with what it means to have a great father. Your father relationships are really messed up. Every time you think about being a dad, you get sad. So I had to learn how to resurrect my faith in myself. I had to learn how it was going to be something where I could be an awesome dad. And I remember looking at that bouquet of flowers and that note that you're going to be a dad and saying, you know what, you need to change this response or you are going to absolutely put yourself in a small space of impossibility. And if you want to rise into who you really are, and I'm telling you today, if there's something that you are being challenged by, if stuff is hitting your personal fan in life and you're wondering how you can respond differently so you can show up and be the more loving, the more kind, the more gracious, the more human, beneficial presence on the planet, the more true you, here's what I know works for you and I. When stuff hits the fan, we typically, if we've learned over time that we immediately go into sadness and madness and badness, we respond in kind. And the only way that we can give ourselves permission to heal is going from this short reactionary space to this space in between where we heal. This is where we heal. This space right here, something happens and this is how we want to be. This is the space. And how do we make this space bigger? By staying present with ourselves when stuff isn't going great. And I've learned that meditation and motion, when something goes wrong, where I'm feeling sad, where I'm feeling powerless, I hold the space of self-compassion and self-love just long enough to say, you know what? You are reinventing yourself. You know what? You've got this, Jimmy. And I talked to myself like I was a little boy when my name was Jimmy. And I say, Jimmy, you got this. Stand in the fire, because challenges make you stronger, because challenges will show you what you really have. Challenges are spiritual fodder. They're the fight that comes into our life. And we can actually use challenges as a force for awesome, as a force to galvanize our mind, our body, and our spirit, and truly empower ourselves in such a way that we change our neurochemistry, we change our emotionality, we change our physicality, we change the way we show up in the world. So, I say when the stuff hits the fan, go into self-compassion mindfulness, and there the wholeheartedness is the result. We don't just respond from an old place, from an old wound, from an old hurt. We get a chance to move into the whole heart, which to me is courage. And today, I woke up worried, and I thought about you, and I thought about me, and I thought about the opportunity to hold the space of self-compassion. I ran to this treehouse, and I said, come on, guys, let's rise and shine. Let's create a wholehearted experience of healing and living with our hearts out loud. Thank you. Thanks for life. Thanks for challenges. Thanks for opportunity. Thanks for spirit coming through us, in us, and as us. So appreciate you. Let's get out there and crush it today. Let's have some fun rising up and being who we came here to be, on fire with purpose and passion. Peace and love. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.